I've made over $1.5 million in a business while only having like 150 Twitter followers. I signed up for Marc Lou's Trust MRR website where you can add your Stripe key, read-only key, and it verifies how much money your startup has actually made. Because you'll see screenshots on social media all the time, like, I'm 14 years old and I work 50 hours a day and I made $1 trillion with this AI dog walking collar, right? It's all nonsense. And so people saw that I had made like, $1.5 million with no Twitter followers, and people were like, how is this possible? How can he do this? And I thought that reaction was really weird. So that's what inspired me to make this video, kind of explain that, how I've made my money. And if you're interested in being an entrepreneur, kind of my take on it. But my first point is their reaction is so bizarre, and maybe I'm a boomer, but this idea that you need social media to make money is nuts. This idea of that, like, oh, you have to be on Twitter to make money, to market. How do you market this, market that? No, you don't. You don't have to. Clearly not. Do you think there was no millionaires before like Facebook was invented? It's that the point is that you can use social media to market, especially if the customers you have are on social media. If you're Marc Lou, if you're Levels, if you're one of these people, your target audience is going to be a lot of young people on Twitter. So it makes perfect sense for them to be on Twitter to pitch their products. But if you are selling, kidney dialysis machines to hospitals, maybe they'll go on Twitter, maybe they'll look for some cool TikTok dance of like kids twerking on top of the dialysis machine, but it's going to be a much more, 6 months sales cycle, in person, bunch of meetings back and forth. So it's a very different game. And I think it's that people assume that like fame equals money, equals clout, equals fancy car, but it's more nuanced than that. And I guess my first point is that social media has like totally distorted people's lens of reality. Nothing on the internet is real. This video is in fact a deep fake brought to you by OpenAI. The second question I got a lot of is like, how do you market? And I'm like, I don't do market. You don't have to market that much if people like your product. Marketing is more important if your product is not that unique. If you're trying to make a toothbrush, well, yeah, marketing is pretty important because why would I use your toothbrush over the many different options? But if you're creating a product and you don't have much competition, or it's kind of niche, then people will perhaps talk about your product and spread it that way, which is what happens for me. My product is 100% word of mouth. So I want to talk a bit about my philosophy, business, entrepreneurship. My name's Jordan. I'm 35 years old. I'm a self-made multimillionaire, so a few times over. This is not the first business I've had, but I've kind of been doing entrepreneurship stuff on and off since high school and a bit more in my early 20s. And so I'll share my thoughts. I've had a lot of people ask me questions. How do you market? How do you make your money? How can I do this? I'll give you kind of like a quick 15-minute overview of like my thoughts and my experience, and hopefully you won't make the same mistakes I did. The first thing to realize that the game, and I mean entrepreneurship, I mean life, whatever you want to call it, is rigged. Everything is rigged. It's completely rigged. It's a carnival where everything is rigged. And you're either one of the riggers or you're not one of the riggers. And if you're not, then it's pretty hard to win. There's a really good analogy I read, I think it's from Hacker News, is entrepreneurship is I'm paraphrasing here. It's I think I have in my notes here, Hacker News user, Not a Coward 2017, credit to him. Entrepreneurship is a carnival game. You go, all the games are rigged. If you're a rich kid, you get as many quarters as you want to throw the ball and try and hit the the lead milk cartons over. If you are middle class, you get maybe one shot before you're out of money. And if you are lower income, then you're not even playing the game, you're working at the carnival. There was this study I read a while back, also from 2017, which was the number one predictor of entrepreneurship is not, oh, hardworking, which, I mean, you of course need that. And it's not, oh, you're smart, you also need that. And it's not, oh, you've got able to overcome adversity, you also need that. It's basically, do you have high risk tolerance because your family has money? That is, people don't want to hear that, but it's true. The more entrepreneurship is not as risky as people think, but it is kind of in the beginning until you can get establish a business. Then once you've got the money rolling, yes, there's still risks, but it's less risky even, I argue, than being a wagee. It's less risky than having a job. Because the company can go under, but you can't you can't get fired if it's your own company. Risk tolerance out of wealth. That's true. That's like a lot. You look at a lot, and I used to work in Silicon Valley. I was a programmer there for a couple of years. A lot of the people who start startups are like middle, upper class people from, not necessarily that their parents can buy them anything they want, but typically enough where they don't really have to necessarily work day to day, and their parents can just kind of float them some money for a while they try out their stupid ideas and see what works or not. It also means you have easier access to capital networks. Another question people ask me is, oh, how do you raise capital? How do you get investment? And my answer, same as before, is I've never raised any money. I've made millions of dollars. I don't have any Twitter followers, and I've never raised any money. I have no investors. I did it purely on my own. But if you're a part of that group, it's going to be easier for you to either for your family or your connections, right? Your social milieu, if you will. It's going to be a lot easier to get that. So that's the first thing to understand is the game is rigged. And if you want to win, you got to accept it's a rigged game, which kind of ties into my second point. Nobody cares about your excuses. People were like, oh, what's such a great idea. Oh, that company did that thing. Oh, I had that idea like 6 months ago. Well, all that money should be mine. Did you do anything about it? Well, I was, but like the pills, bro. Oh, I don't have enough money. Oh, my mom was in the hospital. No one cares. It doesn't matter if your excuse is legitimate or not. That's not my point. I'm not saying that sometimes bad things happen to people and it's always their fault. My point is, no one cares. Don't even bring it up. If you're trying to sell a bunch of apples and you have a big car full of apples and you're driving to the market and an asteroid falls out of the space and annihilates your car, you don't have any car and you don't have any more apples. So you can't sell them. And someone else who's got a cart of apples is going to sell. They're going to make the money, not you. No one cares. Oh, but I'm a special snowflake, and nobody cares until you win. And then once you win, then it's like inevitable that you would have always have won. Then it's like, well, of course that guy, of course he totally would have done it. And that's happened to me when I start my projects. I just have an idea. I'm still asking questions. I'm still trying to figure out the market. People are like, oh, don't do that. It's too risky. It's too risky. Oh, no. And then, it starts working. You make like 5 figures. You start making like 4 figures a month. You make 5 figures a month. Maybe you make 6 figures a month. Then people are like, oh, well, yeah, of course. Yeah. Of course. Yes, I would have worked out. So nobody cares until you win. And then everyone will pretend that it was kind of fated to always be. But in general, nobody cares about your excuse. The system is completely unfair, and don't even think about fairness. Don't even think about the fact that it's rigged, which ties into kind of my next point. You have to be like the Terminator or a zombie or a Necron from 40K, right? You have to be realistic. A lot of people are not realistic. They don't have realistic expectations about their own lives. They don't have realistic understanding of how the world works. They don't live in planet reality. They live in la la land. And you can kind of get away with it if you're a worker, if you're a wagee, because a lot of internal politics is not based on reality. It's based upon, who can smooze the best, who can say things in the nicest way. But if you're dealing with the market, if you are selling products to people and people, on the internet, or in a store are deciding to pick your product, yes, there's a degree of marketing. Yes, there's a degree of propaganda, of course. But you need to realize that what you think doesn't matter. It's what your potential customers think. And the idea of, oh, I've got all this and I'm going to do it, I'm just totally going to work, most of your ideas will fail. Most of your ideas will fail. That's another point. It's that entrepreneurship is like a roguelike. You go until you die, and you're probably going to die from something stupid, and you'll look back and be like, oh, that's not, oh, I can't believe I did that. I've had a handful of projects make, $1 million plus in revenue, but most of them don't go anywhere. But also, going back to the point of no one cares, you can fail 90 times and succeed once. People will never talk about the failures. People will never talk about the failures. They will only look at the success. The system is very survivorship biased. So learn from people's failures, learn from your own failures, and realize that even if you're the greatest entrepreneur in the world, you maybe can get a 50% batting average. You'll win 50% of the time. And even that, I think, is pretty high. So you have to be realistic. You don't necessarily have to be black-pilled, but you want to have this mentality where you will keep going forward and progressing even if things are bad. This idea of that, oh, he's a digital nomad, entrepreneur, he goes to the beach all the time. I do. Oh, he'll just hang out at his laptop and a hammock and work sometimes. I do. But most of it's kind of boring, honestly. It's just me and a laptop doing this all day, It's not like it is in the movies. It's not like it is in Instagram. So you want to be kind of, not necessarily black-pilled, but again, you want to be realistic, and when bad things happen, don't let it stop you. That doesn't mean doesn't mean mindlessly continue your business. Sometimes you have to once you realize it's not going to work, full retreat, do something else. But the overall philosophy is accept that things will go wrong as much as possible, fail fast, and in there's a speed and freedom that you're not going to get if you're some wagey clinging to expectations. So another one people ask is, how do I market? And like I said, I don't really. You don't need a following to make money. There were millionaires before Facebook. Zoomers might not know this, but there was a world before the internet. You want to think backwards. You don't want to think, oh, well, me, my ego, I want to be famous, I want to get followers. You want to think about, well, what do you want? Do you want money? Do you want freedom? Do you want impact? And if you want money from a specific industry, where is it? How do you get it? If you want to make money making pools, say you want to install pools in people's houses, right? Well, are those customers going to be on Instagram? Are they going to be on Twitter? Are they going to be on Facebook? Do you have to go to some local meetup, right? You've got to figure it out and work backwards. So if you want to sell prune juice and you sell it to boomers, but you're not going to go on TikTok, right? If you want to sell weapon systems and guns, you need to call up senators. Don't go on Facebook. So people think, oh, I'll build up a following and then I'll get the money. And that can work. I'm not criticizing that. But that only works for certain types of avenues, which is a small percentage of the overall opportunities. And the global economy is enormous. I go to a bunch of different countries all the time. The planetary size economy is filled with opportunities and inefficiencies everywhere. I guess the last point I'll make before I start ranting too much is stay up to date with useful skills. And right now the useful skill is obviously AI. Learn how to use AI. And I don't mean, I go on my phone and I talk to ChatGPT and it's you're still using ChatGPT? Oh my God, NGMI. What are you talking about? Well, I loaded up, but my school doesn't teach you anything useful. I went to the greatest university on the planet for robotics and mechatronics, which is what I studied. I went to Carnegie Mellon. I got a master's in science from Carnegie Mellon. I did academic research. Do you think they teach you how to use ChatGPT in school? No, they don't. Schools are always behind the latest trends. Now, there's some value in schools. I can go into my experience in academia. In general, I'm not. I think people put way too much value in it. Actual experience trumps unimplemented theory every time. But I will say that I've been learning how to use AI a lot. I'm developing a lot of open source, little GitHub repos for some of the tools I'm using. I'm probably going to release those publicly. And also, I used to have 3 employees working for me. Now they're all gone. It's all just AI. You can save so much money. You can be so much faster if you understand the latest tools. If you can learn how to use AI well in conjunction with understanding a specific industry and think about how you can leverage that, because this industry is probably all run by boomers who are still running Microsoft Windows 98 on their laptops, then there is opportunity in there. So that's all of it for today. Let's see, any other questions? Yeah, if you have any, there's a few questions here I didn't get to. That's fine. I was just kind of ranting for a bit. Yeah, how do you run it from anywhere, your company? I go to a bunch of different countries. I'm in Paraguay now. I was in Bangkok a few days ago. Before that, I was in Laos. I'm going to go to Japan in a bit. You should do it with your laptop, right? You want to have a system where you're non-fungible, but your employees or your the people you work for, the systems are fungible. You want a system which runs autonomously and keeps making money while you're sleeping. That's kind of the gold standard. If you can get that, it doesn't matter if you're not making that much money, because you freed up your time to work on other things. Now, you do have to also maintain these systems. They'll break. They got to be upgraded and all that. So it's not like fully totally hands-off.